At 5:12 the block should have screamed. It didn't. Silence sat on our street like a hand on a mouth. May threw on her coat, ran barefoot, and found Mr. Boone on the rug with a dead alarm. She hit her porch rail 3 times with a skillet, the old trouble code, and the dark began to answer. She cleared the steps in 2 strides. Breath cold, street dark. She saw one porch light blink. Off, then on, then off again. She cut across the yard and slipped through a gap in the fence. Mr. Boone lay on the rug with his palm open. His wife knelt and shook. The medical alert unit glowed. No tone, no call out. May put 2 fingers to his neck. A slow thud. She looked at the clock on the stove. 5:13. Is this your first time visiting us here? Kindly be generous by subscribing, share, like, and comment where you're watching from. We need your support. She did not stand in shock. She yelled at the ceiling like it could carry sound to God and dispatch. I hear you. Then she grabbed a skillet and hit the porch rail 3 times. A code old men taught her when she was a girl. Trouble. Neighbors woke. A truck starter whined. Shoes hit wood. May waved her arms and pointed to the door. Bring a blanket. Bring a phone that works. The neighbor boy sprinted in socks. Mrs. Boone tried to dial again. Might bend slow. Put your hand on his shoulder, she said. Make sure he feels you. She turned the oxygen off and back on. She cleared a kink in the line. She tapped his sternum with 2 fingers. Slow, gentle, steady. The siren woke at 5:16. Late. She hated that detail. She added it to her bones. The ambulance found the house because the porch light pulsed. May stood in the yard and flagged them in with both hands. No drama. Only clean motion. They lifted Mr. Boone. His eyes broke through fog for 1 second and locked on May. She nodded. I'm here. He blinked once. They were gone by 5:22. You feel your chest ease when sound comes back. You know that drop between fear and relief. Stay with me. The way May stitched this block together will give you steps you can use. Watch till the end. Subscribe for more Black resilience stories that feed your courage. May went home and put coffee on. She did not sit. She moved like someone who knows the next fight is already in the room. She called the city line. Closed. She called the plant switchboard. No answer. She called the oxygen vendor and made a tech repeat the words, "We will replace the unit today." She did not ask. She told them the time the siren failed. She told them the color of the light on the panel. She told them the name on the invoice. Dates matter when you're the only clock in the room that keeps true time. By 8, she had walked the block twice. She carried a pocket notebook, but did not write lists. She counted steps. She counted broken bulbs. She counted house numbers you could not read from the street. She touched fences and felt where it softened. She lifted one loose cutout over a storm drain with her boot toe and looked at the trash trapped there. A coffee cup, a handful of leaves, a plastic toy with one eye rubbed off. She pulled the mess out with both hands and flung it into a bin, the water under its side. At 9, a utility truck rolled in with new fiber line. 2 men climbed down. White hard hats. Belts like tools grew there. A foreman pointed to a post that held the last working payphone for 5 blocks. He tapped a sheet. Remove. May stepped into the shade of the pole and folded her arms. No, she said. Not loud. Flat as a brick. The foreman tried a voice he used on customers who needed quieting. Ma'am, no one uses this anymore. May lifted her chin. Last week a woman used it when a man took her purse on the bus. The week before a boy used it at midnight when his mama's car would not start. The week before that I used it when the tower went out and a baby's breath rattled in his chest. The man glanced at his schedule. We have orders. May held the handset in her palm like a tender thing. Your orders forgot a street, she said. Call your boss. Use your working phone. He did not move. She turned to the tech on the ground. Young. Freckles. Unsure. You got a grandmother? She asked. He nodded. His mouth softened. Yes, ma'am. She falls. You want a tone to carry, May said. Not a press release. The foreman called someone. Words traveled up a chain she could not see. He hung up and frowned. We pause, he said. He did not like losing. She did not smile. She nodded once like a carpenter who checks a level and finds it true. May's granddaughter, Joy, arrived with 2 breakfast biscuits and a confused face. Nana, why are you arguing with men under a pole? I am not arguing. May said. I'm buying time with facts. Joy grinned. With a skillet code and a payphone. Whatever works, May said. They ate on the steps. Joy wiped crumbs with her finger and handed the last bite to May. The sky eased into a soft blue. A bus sighed at the corner. Mr. Boone's wife stepped onto her porch and lifted one hand. May lifted hers back and felt her breath find a clean rhythm. May worked at the bus depot for 30 years. She knew routes like a piano player knows keys. She knew who boards where and which pockets get picked near the back. She knew the long ache behind the knee you feel after a double shift. She retired with a watch nobody wins and a back that still held. She took Joy by the elbow and walked the next street. Talk to me, she said. Tell me what your eyes catch. Joy pointed to a busted curb that tripped a stroller. A mailbox with a door that would not shut. A porch without light at dusk. May nodded. You see right, she said. Now touch it. Your hands teach your eyes. They lifted a loose board at a corner and set it straight. Joy braced while May banged a nail in with a rock because the hammer was across town at her cousin's. They laughed at that. Work does not wait for perfect tools. May did not go to City Hall with a sign. She went to the bus depot with a cake. She handed slices to drivers and asked them where they lost time and where they saw kids wait in dark. She asked where the pavement broke and rattled windows. She asked which turn made mirrors kiss. Driver maps hold the truth the glossy maps forget. She took in her head. She did not need a binder for this. She had miles under her skin. That weekend she got up before dawn and stood by the rail crossing. A long train split the block every morning at 5:30 and held people with jobs behind a gate while the engine counted its freight. She timed it with the second hand on her watch. For minutes, 12 seconds. Cars idled. A nurse stood in a scrubs jacket and bounced on her toes. A man in a freezer coat stretched his hands and blew warm air into them. May walked the line and tapped on one window. She pointed to a side street that dropped to a tunnel. Next time cut left at the church, she said. You save 3 minutes. You keep your shift. Word spread the way truth spreads. Not in bursts. One mouth to another. A boy told his cousin. A cousin told her aunt. A driver swung left next morning and made it to the time clock before the beep turned red. He did both. She watched from her steps. She drank tea and felt the block get one shade safer. The plant called a town hall in the school gym. They stood at a table with a banner and handed out water. They said the word partnership. May waited until questions opened, then asked who checks the sirens after storms. The manager grinned the way people grin when they do not know you and want you to sit down. We have procedures, he said. I'm not asking for a slogan, she said. Tell me which shift. Tell me the hour. Tell me the name on the form. A young woman in a work shirt with a name patch looked up from her phone. Third shift, she said. Kiko checks them at 3 a.m. after a storm passes. He marks a spreadsheet. He texts me if one fails. We fix it by noon. That detail saves lives, May said. She turned to the room. Put that in your phone. Ask for Kiko if you hear silence when you should hear sound. Kiko raised a hand from the back wall and smiled without saying a word. His face said, thank you for letting the truth walk in daylight. If this gives you a step to use on your own block, keep going with us. Like, share, and comment with one small fix you can make today. Subscribe so these wins stay in your feed, not lost in the noise. May never called herself a leader. She called herself a neighbor. She fixed what her hands could reach and set other hands moving. She taught Joy how to hear a house breathe. The way pipes knock in cold. The way floorboards talk when a joist needs love. The way a window moans when a lock sticks. Joy learned to bring a chair to an elder's sink so knees do not go bad from standing. She learned to leave fruit where a person will see it first. She learned to walk a night block with her keys put away and her eyes open, not to hunt trouble, but to see the broken thing before it becomes a wound. Winter came. The plant shut for a week to swap a gasket in a tower. The buses ran late when the first ice hit the bridge. Mr. Boone's siren kept time. May cooked a pot of beans in a pan of cornbread. She carried plates to 2 porches without fuss. She left them by the door. No knock. People hate to feel watched when they take help. She knew that truth better than any memo. Spring brought a new threat. Big machines rolled in to tear up the field behind the school for a parking lot. The field was where kids learned to run in shoes that did not fit yet. Where older men walked at dawn and told each other jokes with their hands, where women stretched and prayed and felt that both things were allowed by one sky. May stood at the fence alone at first. She watched the survey crew set flags and measure a future that did not ask the block to imagine it. She clenched her jaw. She did not shout. She called the principal. "Put me on the agenda," she said. The meeting held in a library that smelled like old pages and lemon. The contractor talked about capacity. The principal talked about safety. A mother cried and said her boy's feet need grass. A teacher said her class needs shade. The contractor said trees can be planted in boxes. May stood. "Boxes hold leftovers," she said. "They do not hold souls." No one clapped. That was good. Clapping lets a room feel done before work begins. May walked the field the next morning with a measuring tape and marked a loop that could be saved if they pushed the lot 12 feet north. She found the engineer at lunch and showed her the path. Not with a diagram, with steps. "Walk it with me," she said. They did. The engineer saw it. The lot moved 12 feet north. The loop stayed. Kids ran without dodging bumpers. Men kept their jokes. Women kept their prayer spot. A small fix. A big life. Joy finished school and took a job at the depot. She rode the line 3 times a day and kept a little wrench in her bag. When a seat bolt rattled, she tightened it at the next stop instead of filling a form that would live on a desk for a week. Her supervisor shook his head. "You are not the shop." She smiled. "I am the ride." May sat on her stoop and watched a thunderhead build. She knew which storms break and which storms sit. She listened for the siren and did not hear it. She did not panic. She walked to Mrs. Boone's and saw the new unit blink a steady green. She waved. Mrs. Boone waved back. 2 houses down, a porch light glowed. A boy lifted a soccer ball and trapped it with his foot. The world stayed. Not from speeches. From hand on the thing that breaks. You want a final scene. Take this one. Sunrise. The street wet from a night rain. Steam rises from manhole. A bus slows at the corner and hisses like a tired animal. Joy steps down with a light in her pocket. May stands by the post with the payphone and wipes dew from the keypad with her sleeve. The phone still works. A woman with a lunchbox uses it. She smiles at May. No words. A nod that means more. Mr. Boone sits on his porch with a blanket and a book. Mrs. Boone brings him tea and squeezes his hand without looking down. She learned that trick from May at 5:13 on a bad morning. Kiko drives by in a small truck and taps the horn twice. The siren on the plant fence coughs once and then sings a clean test note. The sound lands in May's chest like a promise kept. May breathes in and lets it out slow. She does not say she saved a block. She would be wrong. The block saved itself with her as the spark. She goes inside, washes her hands, and sets a skillet on the stove. She cracks 2 eggs and smiles at the memory of a rail code that woke a street. She eats standing up and laughs once at nothing, which means everything is all right for now. If this story gave you a clear next step, take it today. Subscribe for more Black resilient stories that show you how to move without waiting for permission. Like and share so this one travels to another block that needs a spark. Comment the one small fix you will make before the week ends. Your hands matter. Your eye matters. Your breath at 5:12 matters.